let's get the negatives out the way first, shall we? Because there are a couple, unfortunately. Let's start with them. I think that this expansion story isn't as good as Endwalker and Shadowbringers. That does not mean the stuff it served on the table was any less good than Endwalker and Shadowbringers. Ishikawa is fantastic. They are incredible at writing this game's story. They've been writing great for this game since the beginning. The new writers are slowly and surely working out what people want, and in terms of deliverance, chef's kiss. Perfect. But execution could have been a little bit better in spots, especially when it came to certain characters, certain arcs finishing far too early, and just the overall pacing felt very weird. I think that this expansion suffers the most with like post-Endwalker, because it's post-Endwalker. There's no build-up to stuff. Everything that's happened is just flustered at us with new things, new crazy ideas, and because there's not this 10 years of build-up that Endwalker had, we're not going to enjoy it as much. We're not going to engage with it much. That's going to be obvious. It's like saying, what's your favourite season of a TV show? It's not going to be season 1, is it? Because everything's been building up to season 5 or season 4. The point is the intentions of this game is to set things up and make us fall in love with a culture, and that being totally allowed. Did they succeed in that? I think they did. Now, negatives. I think the villains could have been handled a little bit better. One of the things that I agree with is the Shadowbringers 2.0 would be the way I would describe Scion. He's too reminiscent of Emmett Selk. The connections between the two can't really be understated. They are both trying to save their people. I will say the handling is different and the execution's different, but they're far too similar, and it's very noticeable in terms of, okay, what do we know will make people happy? Let's just have another Emmett Selk character. I honestly thought that Zoraljo was the better villain, just because he felt more original in terms of having this person who is frustrated with destiny and has this really unique arc for family that I thought was far more interesting. I described it in the Discord as him being a traditional Final Fantasy villain with the qualities of the writing we expect from Final Fantasy XIV. His arc makes sense. However, big however, while Scion is well executed in motivation, he is not. I think that we needed more motivation for his sudden evil arc. It just came out of nowhere. He just suddenly was like, one day, I'm going to be evil now. There's an idea, and I've done a bit of theory crafting for this, that this happened to him because of he just didn't get raised the right way, or becoming leader of the Landsguard, for example, caused him to basically become closed off from the other two. But I just can't see Wuklammat, a young Wuklammat, ignoring her brother entirely. Same with Koana. I can't see them just ignoring him and then be like, fuck him. Like, if they were raised the same way, raised by the same parents, surely there was some communication. Alas, this did not happen. And then he became evil. And the one question in my mind was, why did he become evil? The 30 years he was stuck in the dome makes sense. He was stuck with his pride and just strengthened across time. And yeah, I didn't like that. I think the execution could be better. Less in subtext, more in actually showing it. Show, not tell. Okay? That's what I think is the argument here. Now, the next thing, since we're continuing this train of thought, let's continue with the Galorga stuff. I really like that. I like the family connection. I like how personal the story gets, especially in the second half. You'd think they would go into big mythological, oh yes, these ancients, these creatures are big and powerful. That's the one thing I can disconnect between Scion and Emmett Selk. Emmett Selk felt very omnipowerful, while Scion felt very personal. And like, oh, hi, I'm just doing this to try and help my people, and she is doing to help her people. They spend a lot of time developing that. And this is best, I think, seen with the Galorga stuff, where you see Wuklammat deal with this idea of family and counteracting something that I didn't expect her to deal with. I thought that her arc in the second half of this game was better than the first arc. Because it's something we've seen before, like a prince or princess like going through an arc of, okay, I'm a little bit crusty when it comes to understand my kingdom. I need to become better. I need to go through a redemption arc and understand everything, and they do, with Koana as well, of course. So yeah, I love that. I love the connections to Final Fantasy IX. Let's go into positives now. The pacing in both parts of the game, when it gets good, it gets good. Some of the character stuff involving, I think, everything involving Koana, I really liked. Really liked Bakul Jar Jar. Ended up being Bakula Jar Jar, you know? His motivation. They ended up making me really like this character who released an ancient evil in the world in the form of Aligamanda, and, you know, also stepped on my taco. But that second one is even worse, in my opinion. They ended up making you feel really sorry for him. And I like getting behind a character. I get like emotionally attached to characters a lot easier than I think a lot of other people do. And because of that, I just absolutely adored these two. Their interactions, Bakul Jar Jar was really cool. And I like the duty instances with him. And we can't talk about Two-Headed Mammal Jar without talking about Balor Jar Jar, Gallo Jar Jar. I'm sad he dies so early. He's a really cool character, and you have a great fight with him, and I call him MSQ Dad out of reverence. I really like his relationship with Wakulamat. It's a shame the stuff with Zalja kind of lets it down a little bit, because what the fuck, man? Did you not raise your son as well? You know, your first child? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out more about it as we go along, but I liked him a lot. His death really stuck with me, especially after I got over the fact that everyone was just watching him die, basically. It was like a duel, because Zalja would have killed everyone in Tural if anyone else got involved. So that's why he did that. I understand that subtext-wise it's a little iffy, but it works. Everything involving the culture of Tural. They did the Heaven Sword for me. I love this place. With the first, unlike the first, though, we're not going to be saying goodbye to it. I hope not. I hope we get to come back here a lot. I hope it isn't forgotten about, like Doma or Ishgard. Ishgard didn't get forgotten about. You came back to Ishgard a few times, but we do have to move on. And if it's Mericidia, I'm fine with that. Mericidia, get me in there. So pacing-wise, a little iffy. Character motivations and arcs a little bit iffy. The last negative I will say is dynamics. Character dynamics were a little bit dodgy. I liked the inclusion of Alphinaud and Alisaie, but they didn't do a whole lot. Like in Shadowbringers, you had these little cute interactions where they were like, we're like, Alphinaud like making fun of Alisaie and Alisaie beating the shit out of him. Really funny scenes. Ishtola being the motherly character. You didn't get as many as that in this game. Like Alisaie didn't do a whole lot in Everkeep. She was just there to have another emotional character with Wakulamat. They could have just had Wakulamat. And I'm glad, in living memory, they just had the 4 big boys, including Grahatia. And there was this really beautiful scene on the gondola where we get into Graha's head a little bit, and they actually develop his character a little bit further, which is really cool. I think Cryal's handling could have been a little better. A little bit less Wakulamat and a little bit more Cryal. I think Wakulamat is a great character. She needed to be there for all the story beats, obviously. She's basically the main character of the story. But I feel like there are parts where her arc kind of just is overused, and it becomes a little bit repetitive and a little bit sappy in spots. I like the peace restoration stuff. I just think that her constant, I need to protect everyone, can get a little bit cheesy. But I still love her character, and I enjoyed the fact they never drop her cowardice and her silliness throughout the entire game, basically. She's still scared of flying, she's still scared of transport, she's scared of everything, basically. She's a little kitty cat. Just like Rahana. Now let's go through locations. I think that these are the best fostered locations we've had in the entire game. I can't... Like, Endwalker locations are great, but they're all built up from other expansions. And even then, a lot of them are a little bit boring once you explore them. Like, they're just Desolate Wastelands, Moon, Desolate Wasteland, Garlemald, Desolate Wasteland, Eltima Fjord, Desolate Wasteland, and Elpis, Floating Islands. I like it, but Amarot, I think, looks far prettier than Elpis. Labyrinth Off, a little bit barren, and Favner is great. Pat is my favourite. Oh, don't show me this. No. But this, like, Ukamaka, Kozumaluka, Yaktal, Shaloni, Heritage Found, man. Heritage Found. Living Memory. Those last two areas, I think, are two of my favourite ones we've ever gotten. The progression of Living Memory and how they make you feel awful getting rid of this stuff. Even when they're like, no, you shouldn't feel too guilty about it, they still rub the guilt sauce all over you when they turn off the music, make it all just one texture of the electrobe, and you're just sitting there like, yeah, I don't feel great about this. Heritage Found is a gorgeous area. I haven't seen the design team or so can make such an evil looking location and make it work as well as maybe Azivlar or, I mean, ever really. We've never had an area that feels evil. And then, like, Solution 9 I'm not a big fan of because of how empty it is, but I like how pretty it is. It's a very pretty area. As for Tural, wonderful. One of the best hub areas I've ever gotten. I still think Kagani is the peak, but Tural is kind of just below that, and above Charlie, I'd say. Now the Final Fantasy IX stuff, I think, was really well handled. I talked about it during the game, where I compared it to how they handled the Final Fantasy IV stuff during the patch content. With that, it felt a lot more in your face. Like, they're just using assets from 4. They're just using the 4 Fiends. They're just using locations and music to fill in gaps in writing where the new writers are trying to work a story and have at least something to work off, like a springboard. Makes sense. We don't need to go as in detail with the patch content. However, in Dawntrail, it was handled immaculately. I think this is the best handling of Final Fantasy references they've ever done. Because not only is it really cute when they reference Limblum or Alexandria, they also weaponize it against the player. They use it in a way where it's like, oh, you remember this stuff, don't you? Remember all the sad stuff? Well, now we're going to shove it in your face and then be like, you got to erase it, bitch. You like Clara? You got to erase it. You like Dagora? You got to erase that too? Or Alexandria Castle? Guess what, buddy? You got to get started erasing that shit because it can't exist anymore. And it just feels great. Ah, the music. Oh, yes, the music. Gameplay-wise, it's MMO content. There's going to be a lot of points where it feels structured and really repetitive, and it did a lot, especially Shaloni. I ended up kind of despising that area. That's the one part of the game where I was a little bit bored and just tired. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was anywhere near as bad as Labyrinth Off in Endwalker, or Colludio Part 2 in Endwalker, or Amaranga Part 2 in Endwalker as well. I think that the trials, especially your boy here and Fiends, fantastic. I mean, we did a lot just now. The fucking wall, hole in the wall, game show appearing was amazing. It was a spicy ass fight. I love the Algiers fight. I love how it progressed across the encounter. The music, while I'm not the biggest fan of that sort of style, worked really well. Fiend's theme, I mean, the Dawntrail, I need to listen to that afterwards because we didn't get to hear a lot of it, but it was great. The trumpets are the main theme. Oh no, don't show me this. Don't show me this. Oh, I'm still not recovered from it. Yeah, I loved it. I loved the all of it so far. It's been wonderful. Trials were great. Dungeons. Okay. Dungeons were my favourite part of this expansion. They were so much fun. Especially the level 97 and 99 ones. They were so well designed. The music was gorgeous. Admittedly, the Alexandria one I felt was a little bit repetitive. I like the idea of it, but just going through the same area over and over again isn't a cool idea, but yeah. Grahad here on the gondola. Oh no, don't use this music. Oh, this is how it was found. Yeah. I think that's mainly it. I don't really have anything else to say. Well, character balancing, again, I'm glad they didn't bring all the scions into the final area. Bringing Grahal was a surprise. Oh, song. Oh, Heritage Found music. Yeah, this is one of my favorite areas in the whole game. In all the expansions. Especially the music. I think the music carries it a whole lot. Oh no, Cryo. I didn't even watch the scene because I had to skip through it. How would I rank it among the other expansions? Loosely, after playing Autumn, I'm going to say at the bottom to the top, around the bottom of the bottom, Stormblood, Heavensward, Dawntrail, Endwalker, Shadowbringers. You can't top Shadowbringers. You have to bring like S tier, like the level of quality of dungeons in this and some of the gameplay. Bring this, put it in Shadowbringers type story. And that's what they tried to do, to be honest. But yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah. And then yeah, I like Endwalker more. I think just because of the payoff. I think Endwalker is more flawed as an expansion, but I think the story is better. And again, the payoff is wonderful, and I felt like everything ended in a neat bow, which is a massive achievement. But in terms of springboarding everything, in terms of starting everything, Dawntrail succeeded in every regard. New characters, new world, focusing on those new characters and that new world. The artifact being the springboard for the plot going forward is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that. But I think that's it. I think that's it. I hope it's Mericidia. It is on the map. It's kind of sad, isn't it? Like, we don't get to do this as often, like doing an expansion for Final Fantasy XIV, and I've been looking forward to it so long, and now it's gone. But I'm also happy it's over, because I need to focus on doing other things now, and I can't do this forever. So I can start doing the bonus dungeons and get into small roulettes, maybe. That'd be quite fun. Do some role quests. And then eventually do the raids when they come out, because I do plan on doing those. Not on recording. The next time you're going to see me is going to be the patch content, which is going to be 7.1. So see me for that. But alongside that, the next series for the Final Fantasy Marathon is going to be 13.2. And it's going to be massive tonal whiplash after this, I think. It's going to have more condensed editing. It's going to be more edited. Quick horrors are going to return now that I finish this. Fingers crossed. Oh, no. We are going to have a little rummage around. I want to go at the head living memory just to kind of pin things off. But... oh... wait, what? What's Seralja doing there? He died! What's happening? No, in fact, he did not die. This is 20 years later. Oh no, that's the father. Okay, no, that is it is just bringing a giant. That's why he hates her, because he gave him a fucking concussion. So those two were fighting while they were enjoying a nice meal together with Namika. You got Seville in the background, who's 2 steps away from being backstabbed. I like this. We're getting some flashbacks finally. Maybe explaining some other stuff that should have probably been explained in the main game, but yes, I don't mind. Oh, baby. I hope they raise him well. I will be there to raise him with you guys. This is like Heavensward all over again. I want to see the nation being prosperous. And I want to see Galuljar growing up and being a good king. And that's not going to happen. Well, that's what fanfiction's for, baby. I like the legacy angle, by the way, with this expansion. How legacy versus memory, and how nothing can last forever. Nothing will last forever. but you can fight for your world. You can fight as much as you can, but eventually you only got your memories. You can't live forever. And that's what legacy is for. That's what continuing your society is for. Alexandria is still going to exist through the people in Everkeep. Galul Jar Jar's bloodline is still going to continue to exist through Galul Jar. And the nation of Tural will continue to exist through Wukalamet and Koana. And them being the Vow of Resolve and Vow of Reason. And I like the whole idea, by the way, of the Resolve versus Reason aspect of this expansion. It's an arc that I really enjoyed. And yeah. So much stuff to talk about, so much love, so much thinking, especially in Heritage Found and Living Memory, where so much of that was me theorizing about this crazy new world they've created with Alexandria, the electrope stuff, the soul cells, like the idea of soul-powered endless. So many interesting ideas incorporated, and finding out about the culture of the world, the festivals run by the Hanu Hanu, the beliefs held by the Yokhoi about living on past death. The kind of war that occurred between the Mammaljar and the Arxbral. It's so interesting. And they've never dropped that in terms of quality in my training. Like the Pelu trade quest was really cool. The Moblin kind of bringing that guy back who Wukalamet was nice to was neat. But alas, there are still people out there who are going to hate this expansion. And that's fine. People are allowed to not enjoy it. What's the song? Oh, is this the dungeon theme? Yeah, it is, I think. I am curious. This is why I'm waiting for the credits. We also got the end of the quest to finish as well. They tend to just wrap it up like that, though, because it usually goes into the patch content, and that's when the story continues. It's going to be weird finishing an expansion and not having anything to do in terms of the MSQ. Because if you remember Endwalker, 6.1 was out by then, I think I got to then. So, yeah. And in the case of this, well, we shall see. Can I skip this now? Yes.